Hand. Noun. Part of body. 1. Countable. The part of the body at the end of the arm, including the fingers and thumb. Ian placed a hand on her shoulder. Put your hand up if you know the answer. Keep both hands on the steering wheel at all times. She was on her hands and knees, crawling on the floor, looking for an earring. Couples strolled past holding hands. Give me your hand. Hold my hand while we cross the road. The crowd threw up their hands, lifted them into the air in dismay. He killed the snake with his bare hands, using only his hands. A hand towel. A small towel for drying your hands on. A hand dryer. One that is used by turning a handle rather than powered by electricity. See also left hand, hot hand, right hand. Serrated entries, body parts, hands and nails. Handed. 2. In adjectives, using the hand or number of hands mentioned. A one-handed catch. Left-handed scissors. Intended to be held in your left hand. Help. 3. A hand. Singular. Informal. Help in doing something. Let me give you a hand with those bags. Help you to carry them. Do you need a hand with those invoices? The neighbors are always willing to lend a hand. Role in situation. 4. Singular. Hand in something. The part or role that somebody, something plays in a particular situation. Somebody's influence in a situation. Earlier reports suggest the hand of rebel forces in the bombings. Several of his colleagues had a hand in his downfall. This appointment was an attempt to strengthen her hand in policy discussions. On clock. Watch. 5. Countable. Usually in compounds. A part of a clock or watch that points to the numbers. See also hour hand, minute hand, second hand. Worker. 6. Countable. A person who does physical work on the farm or in a factory. See also charge hand, farm hand, hired hand, stage hand. Sailor. 7. Countable. A sailor on the ship. All hands on deck. See also deck hand. Serrated entries. People in sea travel. Hand. 8. In compounds. By a person rather than the machine. Hand-painted pottery. Hand-knitted. This item should be hand-washed. See also handmade. In card games. 9. Countable. A set of playing cards given to one player in a game. To be dealt a good, bad hand. Serrated entries. Card games. 10. Countable. One stage of a game of cards. I'll have to leave after this hand. Serrated entries. Card games. Writing. 11. Singular. Old use. A particular style of writing. See also freehand. Measurement for horse. 12. Countable. A unit for measuring the height of a horse, equal to 4 inches or 10.16 centimeters. See also dab hand. old hand, second hand, underhand. Extra examples. A heavy hand clamped over her mouth. A large hand descended on his shoulder. A strong hand reached out and caught hold of her arm. A surgeon needs a good eye and a steady hand. At harvest time, all the locals lend a hand. Beth grasped the rope with both hands. Can you give me a hand with loading the van? Clive ran a hand through his hair. Delicate clothes should be washed by hand. Eager hands reached out to help him. Guards made sure that the food supplies didn't fall into the wrong hands. Hannah grasped her hand. He beat his hands on the steering wheel in frustration. He clutched the cane in his clammy hand. He grabbed my hand and motioned for me to follow him. He had his hands clasped behind his head. He holds out a bony hand for her to shake. He killed the lion with his bare hands. He laid a gentle hand on his brother's shoulder. He laid a hand on her arm. He lifted his hand to her face. He offered a limp hand to shake. He put a friendly hand on his friend's knee. He put out hands as if to touch her. He reached for her hand and held it tightly. He retired feeling confident that his company was in safe hands. He rubbed his hands together in satisfaction. He sat with his head in his hands. He shook Blake's hand as if they were long-lost friends. He shook hands with all of us before leaving. He slid his hands into his pockets. He threw up his hands in despair when he saw the damage. He was on his hands and knees, looking for contact lens. He was sobbing and wringing his hands by the grave. He wiped his greasy hands on the front of his overalls. Her busy hands had transformed the tiny room into a work of art. Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh no! Her hand lifted to place a cigarette in her mouth. Her hand moved to cover his. Her hand ran over the surface, feeling the different textures. Her hand shook as she lifted the glass to her lips. His hand brushed against hers. His hand eventually found the right switch. His hand froze in mid-gesture. His hand rested on her shoulder. His hand, when she shook it, was cool and firm. His hands clawed at the muddy earth. His hands cupped her face. His hands dropped to his sides and he fell to the floor. His hands roamed over her shoulders. I cupped my hand over the mouthpiece of the phone so they couldn't hear me. I desperately need to lay my hands on some money by Monday. I don't work in that department anymore, so the problem is out of my hands. I felt a hand on my shoulder. Jimmy slapped his hand over his mouth. Mail for hand delivery is put in a separate tray. Muriel's hand crept to her neck to hold her pearls. My hand groped for the door handle. My hand hovered over the switch for a moment. My hands clenched together tightly. My hands fumbled with the key. Now the EU has revealed its hand. Operate the gas with your left hand. Puree with a hand blender or food processor. Several students put up their hands to answer the question. She asked for a show of hands. She clenched her hands in her lap to hide their trembling. She felt that life had dealt her a bad hand. She filled our glasses with a generous hand. She folded her hands in prayer. She gained a reputation as a safe pair of hands. She gestured to the window with an open hand. She had a piece of paper in her hand. She had large rings on both hands. She held on to my hand as I tried to leave. She held up her hand in farewell. She pressed his hand. "I know," she said softly. She put her hands to her cheeks in embarrassment. She rested her chin in her cupped hand. She shivered, rubbing her hands together fiercely. She shrugged and spread her hands. "That's all I can tell you." She smiled and extended a hand in welcome. She stood in the doorway, hands on hips. She stood up and went over to him, her hands outstretched. She studied the object in the palm of her hand. She took the child's hand and helped him climb the steps. She walked towards him with her hand outstretched to take his. She warned her brother to keep his hands off her bag. Slowly, Ruth withdrew her hand from his. The farmer would bring in hired hands to help him harvest the crop. The party leadership overplayed its hand. The policeman kept a firm hand clamped on his shoulder. The works looked like they had been shaped by human hands. The strategic alliance served to strengthen the country's hand in the region. There's plenty of work for willing hands. They walked along, holding hands. They walked hand in hand along the path. We were all clapping our hands in time to the music. Who dealt the last hand? With a practiced hand, he motioned a waiter to bring a fresh pot of coffee. With his free hand, he took hold of the knife. "You can take your laptop on the plane as hand luggage." A hand recount of the vote for governor. The invisible hand of the market. Early reports suggest the hand of rebel forces in the bombings. He knew that he would never be anything more than a hired hand. This appointment was an attempt to strengthen her hand in policy discussions.